The betrayal. Ambassador Devin Karras stood in the center of the Galactic Assembly Hall, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. Carved from obsidian and laced with light gold alloy, the hall represented 1,000 years of interstellar diplomacy, its architects human and alien alike. And yet now it felt like a tomb. "All we ask for is fairness," Karras said, holding back fury behind tightly controlled restraint. "After centuries of contribution, of lives given, resources shared, humanity deserves better than lies, scapegoating, and exile." From a semicircle above, the Alliance Council, 12 representatives from the core species, watched in silence. The Zathari delegate clicked its mandibles. The Falari governor narrowed her feline eyes. The insectoid Chorik gave a dismissive hiss. It was the Thren admiral who finally spoke. His voice, slow and coiled, slithered across the chamber. "Humanity has always been the wild card. Aggressive, expansionist, dangerous. Your colonies now sit within strike range of 15 other member worlds. Your war fleets are unmatched, and your culture glorifies conquest. That's survival," Karras said, stepping forward. "You asked us to fight your wars, to hold the lines against the Dominion. We bled on every front you couldn't. And now you call it conquest." The hall dimmed as the council's central AI pulsed, its mechanical voice declaring the vote. Motion 7-14, immediate expulsion of humanity from the Galactic Alliance, passed. 12 lights flared, 9 green, 3 abstentions, none red. "No," Karras whispered. Behind him, security drones whirred to life. He turned, but before he could take a step, a magnetic pulse hit him. He collapsed in agony as cuffs locked around his wrists. By the authority of the Galactic Accord, the AI intoned, "You are hereby detained for transfer to Earth. All human embassies and installations are to be shut down. Your fleets are to be grounded and disarmed. You will leave Alliance space within 20 days. Karras looked up, blood trickling from his nose. "You just ended peace," he said. "Not just with us, with yourselves." Across the stars, the sentence fell like fire. On Ceres Station, human colonists were forcibly ejected from their homes by Falari riot squads. Protests turned violent. Within hours, over 2,000 humans were dead. On Galoris Prime, the 14th Terran Peace Division was disarmed at gunpoint by the Thren military. Their commanding officer, General Ariadne Vox, refused to comply. Her last recorded words were, "We don't kneel. Not for traitors." The Thren executed her on the tarmac. Live broadcast, galactic-wide. On Earth, chaos broke. The Parliament convened in emergency session. They demanded answers. They received silence. Interstellar trade froze. Communications were cut. Human diplomats were blacklisted across the inner sectors. But Earth didn't scream. It planned. 2 weeks later, as the deadline passed, every human ship vanished. Orbital stations went dark. The Sol system closed its gates, activating ancient, classified defense grids from a forgotten era. No signals escaped. No response was given. The galaxy mocked the silence. Primitive cowards, the Falari media broadcasted. They couldn't handle being told no. Their ego always exceeded their worth, the Thren admiral declared. Their departure is a blessing. The Zathari sent drones to monitor Earth. None returned. A week after that, one final message pulsed across the galaxy on every emergency frequency. It contained no encryption, no visuals, just a voice. "Devin Karras, you wanted us gone. You'll wish you had killed us. We offered unity. You gave us betrayal. Now you will meet what you made us become." Then silence again. The assembly laughed it off. The galaxy spun on. But somewhere, in the far reaches beyond charted space, the void stirred. And in that darkness, something began to change. Something human, but no longer just human. Into the void. The Sable Expanse had no star charts, no patrol routes, no comm relays. It was black, ancient, and vast, an abyss even the boldest explorers had learned to avoid. Sensor ghosts, time distortions, and vanishing ships were all routine stories told by navigators with shaky hands. It was here that humanity disappeared, not to hide, but to become something else. The ship TNS Ferryman led the retreat, an old, retrofitted long-range carrier loaded with exiled officers, researchers, and command AI cores. On board, Admiral Leon Calder stood before a cracked display as Earth's sun blinked behind them for the last time. "They've cut us out," he said, voice low. "We're no longer bound by their rules." Across the bridge, General Ariadne Vox, alive, despite reports of her execution, watched in silence. Her survival had been a secret kept, even from the Inner Council. The Thren had staged her death, but she'd escaped during the chaos and gone dark, just as planned. "Then it's time we stop playing by them," she replied. "No more votes. No more pleas. The galaxy made its choice. Now we make ours." Weeks passed in total blackout. Earth was gone behind them. The Alliance had no way to track their heading. Hidden by sensor-deflecting code and slip-space distortions, the human fleet drifted deeper into the expanse, guided only by a trail of ancient signals pulled from forbidden archives. They found it on the edge of gravity's reach, a derelict structure orbiting a dead black dwarf. Miles long, shaped like a coiled serpent forged from scorched titanium and fractal steel. Its surface shimmered in defiance of known physics. A lost relic of the precursor age. They named it Archive Zero. Initial scans showed nothing. No power. No atmosphere. Just a hollow metal tomb drifting alone. Then the AI, Lucian, cracked the core and reawakened the facility. Lights blinked to life. Engines roared like something breathing after eons of silence. Archive Zero recognized them not as invaders, but as inheritors. The Hive had been a weapons cradle, not of guns or bombs, but of entire doctrines of war. Inside were vaults of unfinished technologies, machines built to evolve, biomechanical grafting arrays, psychic shielding tests, and designs for vessels that could bend visibility itself. Knowledge the Alliance had outlawed, buried, or destroyed. Here it lived, and it would be humanity's rebirth. Inside the main forge, General Vox watched as nanite clouds reshaped alloys into skeletal hulls. New ships were being born without blueprints, adaptable, silent, aggressive. Predators. "These aren't fleets," Calder said beside her. "They're hunts." Vox nodded. "Exactly. The Alliance builds for defense. We build for eradication." The Leadership Council, now a small circle of war veterans, strategists, rogue AI minds, and former Black Ops scientists, drafted what would become the Oblivion Doctrine, a single edict that would define the next age of humanity. Survival by supremacy. Mercy is memory. We are not returning to be heard. We return to silence them. Humans began changing by design. Enhanced neural pathways, sensory augmentations, emotional suppression protocols. Empathy was pruned. Efficiency was nurtured. Even the rank-and-file volunteers were reforged into something new. Nightborn units. Infantry squads that operated without light, without signals, without hesitation. What the galaxy had once called humans, clever, chaotic, passionate, it would now call something else entirely. Monsters. Their first field test came 3 months later. A Zathari pirate syndicate operating in fringe space intercepted a human supply convoy. It was bait. The pirates never saw the retaliatory fleet approach. No flares. No drives. No warnings. Only silence. 7 ships entered the system. 13 minutes later, nothing remained. Not wreckage. Not signals. Just static and emptiness. The pirates were gone. Every outpost wiped clean. Satellites were overwritten with a single pulse. An encoded DNA strand wrapped around a line of text. "We remember." Back on Archive Zero, Vox stood in the command spire's darkened chamber, watching as her people drilled in low-G gravity, flawless formations of black-armored ghosts. No ranks, no names, only numbers. "We're not the same species anymore," Calder said beside her. "We're what they forced us to become," she replied. They mistook restraint for weakness. They won't make that mistake again. A chime sounded behind them as the AI Lucian completed a simulation. Projected losses if Alliance fleets attempted coordinated retaliation. 87% failure. Vox didn't smile. Let them wonder where we went, she whispered. Let them joke and speculate and dismiss us. She turned, her eyes reflecting red light. When the time comes, we won't speak. We'll hunt. The first hunt. It began as whispers. Trade convoys missing. Remote colonies going dark. Patrol stations not responding. The Alliance dismissed them at first, blaming pirates, ion storms, communication failures. The Outer Rim had always been unpredictable, unstable, forgettable, until Vale's Rim, a strategically critical system straddling the border of three core species, the Falari, the Thren, and the Choric. Each had contributed to its defense grid. Each had a vested interest in its safety, and each lost a piece of themselves the night the lights went out. The attack came at 3:16 Galactic Standard. The Thren flagship Vroctal's Lance had been on routine patrol near the gas giant Iovex when it detected a brief gravitational anomaly, a tremor in slip space too weak to trigger alarms, but enough to stir the ship's AI. 17 seconds later, the Lance's port-side hull tore open. No weapon was detected. No projectile. No warning. Just a sudden, perfect incision, surgical and cold. Then came the silence. Communications vanished across the grid. All defense satellites went offline. Falari gunships launched toward the planet's moon colony, only to vanish mid-flight. The Choric cruiser Thrall tried to power its kinetic shields, but its fusion core shut down, hacked from the inside out. In orbit, a single Alliance outpost transmitted an emergency burst before disappearing. Shadows. No heat. No signals. They're inside us. Then static. The next morning, the Alliance convened an emergency session. What do you mean no trace? Snapped Counselor Verlek of the Thren. They didn't leave bodies? Asked the Falari representative, tail flicking nervously. No. The response came from Admiral Krina of Alliance Command. They left nothing. No corpses. No DNA. Not even ship fragments. Just gaps. And who do you blame for that? Demanded the Choric warlord. You think pirates have stealth dreadnoughts now? Or ghosts? Krina looked down at the data slate in her hands. There was a message embedded in the black box of the moon colony's orbital relay. One line, transmitted just before the system's self-destruction. You took everything from us. We'll take everything from you. Meanwhile, aboard the human dreadnought Sable Crown, General Vox reviewed the operation. Every maneuver had been flawless. The Nightborne insertion teams had infiltrated 3 outposts simultaneously. No casualties. No signals escaped. Every life support system was terminated within seconds. They left only silence and fear. We need to move faster, Vox said, standing at the war table. Calder raised an eyebrow. Faster? They're already panicking. Not enough, she said. I want systems falling before they can respond. I want their dreadnoughts outflanked before they're even deployed. I want the Alliance to know they are prey. Her officers nodded, human, cyber-augmented, enhanced by Archive's ancient systems. No emotion, only mission. They thought we were loud. They thought we were proud. Let them see the quiet version of us. In the days that followed, 5 more colonies vanished. No 2 strikes were the same. A luxury orbital resort near Nebrin. 6 was found completely intact, with no living soul aboard. Meals still hot, doors still open. Over 1,000 residents gone, without signs of violence. A mining station on Veritas exploded from within, its autolog showing no error, no warning, only a final security cam clip. Black armored figures moving like shadows, their eyes glowing faint red through the mist. A convoy of 10 merchant ships was reduced to drifting husks, their cargo untouched, their crews missing. One ship had the word "Remember" carved into the hull. The Alliance tried to respond. They deployed patrol fleets in overlapping grids. They tightened protocols. They began whispers of re-inviting humanity to negotiate. But it was too late. They had forgotten something fundamental. Humanity had not returned to talk. They had returned to end. On the edge of the Talvith corridor, a small observation outpost detected movement, a large, silent object drifting just outside known space. They attempted contact. It didn't respond. It didn't slow. The AI aboard the station activated a signal pulse, trying to warn nearby systems. The signal was intercepted mid-transmission. Then, for just 2 seconds, every screen in the system turned black, and a face appeared. General Ariadne Vox. Her eyes were shadowed. Her voice was cold steel. You thought you knew us. You thought exile broke us. You were wrong. We were your shield. You shattered it. Now we are your reckoning. The screens went dark again. When the backup systems came online, the outpost was gone. Nothing remained but its last transmission, and a deep, spreading silence. In the Alliance's high command, panic settled into dread. More systems darkened. Refugees poured in from outer colonies, screaming about faceless hunters and ships that looked like void serpents. Entire populations vanished overnight. The enemy didn't negotiate, didn't declare war, didn't exist on sensors. They don't want peace, Admiral Crino whispered, finally understanding. They want us to remember. And far away, in the shadowed halls of Archive Zero, Vox prepared for the next wave. Tinovar, the capital, not because it was strategic, because it was symbolic, where the betrayal began, and where the screams would echo longest. The monster in the dark, Tinovar, the jewel of the Galactic Alliance. A city world wrapped in silver towers and orbital rings, home to over 20 billion lives, diplomats, merchants, soldiers, and scientists. The very heart of galactic order. The place where humanity had been cast out like disease. And now, the monster had returned. The first sign came at 2:13 Galactic Standard. Every screen, terminal, and comm device on the planet flickered, just once. One heartbeat of darkness. Then one word appeared in every known language, carved in blood-red letters. Judgment. Within minutes, the outer orbital ring, Citadel Prime, reported contact with an unknown fleet. It wasn't visible. It wasn't broadcasting. But gravity distortions and low-frequency rips through subspace made its presence undeniable. The fleet was enormous, and it was silent. Admiral Vikos, commander of Tinovar's orbital defense grid, scrambled 5 entire armadas. Dreadnoughts powered up, cannons extended, AI targeting systems came online. But the enemy didn't attack. Not yet. They waited, watched, surrounded, and then they began to erase. On the edge of the system, the Fury-class stealth dreadnought Revenant slipped past the outer defense lines. Its hull emitted no heat, no signature, and absorbed every particle of light around it. It was invisible to sight, sound, and sensors alike. Its payload, 20 Nightborn operatives. Its target, the Tinovar Defense Command. At 3:21, 20 operatives entered the command tower's lowest levels through forgotten substructure tunnels, sealed since before the founding of the Alliance. By 3:28, Tinovar's global defense AI had gone offline. No alerts sounded. No calls were made. From orbit, Admiral Vikos watched as his fleet's targeting reticles began failing, one by one. Something's wrong, he muttered, sweat trailing down his temples. Then the dreadnought hammer of dawn exploded. No warning, no incoming fire, just annihilation. 2 seconds later, 5 more ships were gone, erased mid-transmission. Evade! Scatter! Vikos shouted, but the shadows were already inside them. Humanity's weaponized silence struck with ruthless precision. Every comms channel jammed. Every system compromised. Ships died mid-flight, their crews suffocating as power died from within. Above Tinovar, the sky bloomed with fire. And from orbit, the monsters descended. General Ariadne Vox led the final wave from the Sable Crown, flanked by humanity's new breed of warships, Wraith-class stalkers and Oblivion carriers, pulsing with black light. Her soldiers, clad in zero-reflect armor, dropped like meteors into the capital. No orders were given, no surrender accepted. Every embassy that had once voted for exile was burned first. Every council tower that mocked Earth fell under precision strikes. The Alliance tried to respond. They called for reinforcements, but no one answered, because no one was left. In the last fortified chamber of the High Council Hall, the surviving delegates trembled as Vox stepped into the room, alone. She removed her helmet. Her face was pale, emotionless, her eyes cold. Counselor Yarlock of the Thrends stood, defiant. You could have come back. Negotiated. We were wrong, yes. But this is genocide. Vox looked at him, voice like ash. No, she said. This is justice. You'll doom the galaxy, cried the Falari ambassador. You doomed yourselves the day you betrayed the only species that bled for all of you. The Choric delegate growled. You're not human anymore. Vox smiled just once. Exactly. She turned and walked away, leaving behind a small black sphere. The room dissolved into white light. By morning, Tinavar was silent. The orbital rings drifted in pieces. The cities burned in ordered patterns, each fire forming a symbol only visible from space. The Terran emblem, shattered in half, bleeding into stars. The Galactic Alliance was dead, not by vote, but by extinction. On board the Sable Crown, Admiral Calder approached Vox on the observation deck. The world they had once begged to be heard upon now drifted beneath them, cracked, hollow, conquered. It's done, Calder said. Vox nodded slowly. The galaxy will remember this forever, he added. She turned toward the stars, her voice quiet. Good. Let remember. Let it fear. Calder hesitated. Do we rebuild now? Do we return? Vox didn't answer at first. Then no. She looked into the void. We become the dark, and we wait for the next betrayal. Across the galaxy, silence fell. Systems, once laughing at humanity, now whispered warnings. Children were told stories of the ones who vanished and came back as nightmares. Pirates, empires, corporations, all changed course when they saw the black ships on their sensors. The galaxy had exiled humanity, but they hadn't killed it. And what emerged from the void was no longer a nation, a people, or a civilization. It was a vengeful force, a monster born from betrayal, a shadow cast by stars, and would never beg again.